Welcome to the Observe Day podcast, the show where we celebrate the days that matter. From holidays to meaningful observances, we bring you inspiring conversations, stories, and ideas to make each day count. Whether it's raising awareness, learning something new, or simply sparking joy, this is your space to explore the calendar in a whole new way. I'm your host, Wisdom Okonkwo, and I'm excited to share today's observance with you. Let's dive in. Today on the Observe Day podcast, we're celebrating National Guide Dog Month, a time to honor the dogs who guide, protect, and bring independence to so many. Beyond their skills and training, guide dogs embody something profound, an emotional and spiritual wisdom that connects deeply with their human partners. To help us explore heart-centered side of guide dogs, I'm joined by Anne Webb, an animal communicator, author, licensed clinical social worker, and the host of the Animal Intuitive channel. Anne helps people tune into the unspoken language of animals, discovering lessons of trust, resilience, and love. Welcome to the show, Anne.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. Yeah, National Guide Dog Month. It highlights service dogs as heroes. From your perspective as an animal communicator, what makes their connection with humans so powerful?
Animals are so connected to us on a level that even sometimes our own family members aren't. And I'm not dismissing, of course, our loved ones, but our human loved ones. But I've worked with so many people who, even when you think about, I don't mean to start the show off on a down note, but when somebody loses a pet, for instance, it's one of the most painful things you can go through. And I think even that experience is very unique because people have their animals often with them in a way that they don't have people in their lives with them.
Yeah,
We might even sleep with them in the bed. They might be working from home and have them with us all day. They are with people at their worst moments. Sometimes people don't show emotion to people in their lives that they'll show to an animal. And animal communication, just for everyone maybe who isn't familiar with what animal communication is, it's the ability to understand what an animal is thinking and feeling, and that information can come through in many ways. It can come through basically little movies or images that you get in your mind's eye.
yeah,
It can be sentences that you hear. You're not The sound isn't coming from outside of your head, but it's through your mind, like your own thought, but it's not your own thought. You can pick up what an animal is physically feeling in their body. So, for instance, if an animal has an injury, we can do medical intuitive work and pick up on what an animal might be experiencing. Uh, Maybe they've got a hurt paw or hurt ankle, something that's sore, and the human didn't
yeah,
realize that. Also, how the animal is feeling emotionally is a very important part of this work. Also, what an animal might even be smelling or tasting. So it can be about what they're feeling about their food, the way the food tastes, or the texture of their food, or how it smells. So you can really enter their world through animal communication and understand fully what an animal is experiencing.
yeah. Thank you so much for that. As an animal communicator, how do you see guide dogs expressing emotions or understanding their human partners differently from other pets?
Well, I think that there's two parts of that. One, and I wouldn't say I'm a guide dog expert, of course, but um, when I have spoken to, for instance, I had someone on my show who has trained guide dogs, Dr. Paul Gabius. He talks about there's a certain type of relationship that is probably a little bit more elevated or intense as far as the training aspect of it goes. I mean, that animal really has a job to do. And often the animal is so in tune with that work that they're kind of going on what they have to do as a job.
Yeah,
And the animal communication side of that would probably be the part of them that might be tuning into how their person is doing in the moment that day, how the person's, maybe their energy might be off. Maybe somebody that has a guide dog who has some kind of disability that or issue going on that could affect maybe their energy levels. Let's say somebody has, this isn't really exactly a guide dog, this is more of like a support animal kind of thing, but let's say somebody has something like diabetes and an animal or seizure issue,
Yeah.
and animals are trained to, and you can have both, you know, you could be have a dog if you're blind and have many other physical issues going on. The animal is so in tune with the person's energy that it goes beyond, to me, just regular work that they're doing, that they're trained to do. That's the part where we kind of get more into the animal communication, where animals have this ability to pick up on what people are thinking and feeling. It's the way that animals communicate. They obviously can't speak. Um, so the way that animals go about their lives is picking up on our energy and picking up on what's going on in our lives and what we're thinking and feeling. And most people can easily recognize this. You know, you can see where an animal might be acting a little bit anxious when you're going
Yeah.
through something where your energy might be off. You know, that happens with my animals. They're sort of a signal to me of when I need to take a step back and think about, okay, do I need to ground my energy a little bit here? Because my dog's panting for no reason. And, you know, when I take a moment and think about it, I say, oh, you know, I've kind of been rushing around. I've kind of, you know, my energy's not where it should be. So animals can really be a reflection for us. I'm not sure when
Yeah.
this interview will be out that we're doing, but my next episode is actually about this very topic, and a dog that had some things going on that were really
Yeah.
related to that. So
This episode will be live in September.
yeah, well, they might coincide. Might be a
uh,
similar
but a lot of
time.
persons, yeah, animal communication, they're like, yeah, what's that? And they're probably thinking, oh, animal communication is just to shout, sit down, stand up, run, shake, and what is animal communication?
Right. It's, you know, I think it's becoming more, people are becoming more aware of it through probably just the fact that we have social media now. You know, it's coming out a little bit more. It's been around forever. I mean, when you go back to here in the United States, we think about the Native Americans who, and I'm sure in other countries, the original people on the lands were very in tune with their animals. And so we've sort of it's been there. It's just for whatever reason, and I can't speak to all societies, you know, you're in a completely different part of the world than I am, but the society, I think, for instance, in the United States, just as time went on, things changed. You know, things became more about maybe not so much that type of thing, that kind of connection, that unseen, and it became not understood. It became sort of rolled over and put into the background,
Yeah,
and then even perhaps made into something, you know, bad or negative, that or weird. And there's a history to animal communication, and you know, more recently coming to the forefront, Penelope Smith brought it to, I would say she was one of the people that brought it out more, like in the 80s. It started to come out. There's a few people back then, and I luckily I had an opportunity to study under her for and teach her course for a while. Now I teach my own courses, but this is something that I think is starting to come out because I don't know, whatever's going on in the world. Maybe there's just people are coming, they're opening their eyes to things. Things are coming more into awareness that have kind of been buried.
yeah. Before we dive deeper, I'd love to invite you to join the Observe Day newsletter. Every week, I send you highlights of upcoming observances, creative ways to celebrate, and behind the scenes extras from the shows. It's the perfect way to stay inspired and never miss a meaningful moment. Sign up today at observeday.com/join. That is observeday.com/join. Now, let's get back to the conversation. Yeah. I think a lot of people are getting awareness and it's changing what they perceive animal communication has been. Because prior to that, a lot of persons would just see, oh, animal communication, and as I said earlier on, just shouting a couple of commands to your dog, or
Right.
depending on the pets we're talking about, because animal communication, I know dog is like the most common, but that's not the only pet there is.
Of course, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely training. You know, that would be traditional if we're talking about guide dogs, that would be training. And I think though that I don't want to speak for anybody, but you know, I believe that if somebody has a guide dog, you know, there's probably a level of connection and animal communication that goes on that perhaps is more like more, even more heightened, more of that intuitive connection.
Yeah.
If somebody isn't doesn't have the ability to see, or doesn't have the ability to see well, and they're dependent on their animal to really get them through the world safely, then there's just by default there's going to be this connection that's maybe a little bit more heightened, or a lot more heightened than
Yeah.
a person who doesn't need and isn't as dependent. There's just that it's going to help, I think, facilitate the gift that I think everybody has to communicate with animals. And people often say that, "Oh, you have a gift, this is something that you do." And I'm like, no, anybody can learn to do this. I think everybody's born with it. I really do. I mean, I teach animal communication. I've been teaching it for over 20 years. And I always inevitably, when I have a class or a new student, people will almost immediately be able to, as we kind of start to talk, and I do things with them like hypnosis and meditation to kind of get grounded. And I ask them to go back and think about a time when they've known what their animal has been thinking and feeling, or they could tell that their animal picked up on what they were thinking and feeling. Sure, everyone listening has an experience, if you love animals, and maybe even if you don't, but where you can remember a time when you said, "Wow, I really something happened there." I knew what was going on with my pet. I knew they needed something. I knew something was wrong, or, just something amazingly coincidental that they kind of brushed to the side happened. And these things are, animal communication. People just don't recognize it. They don't know what to call it. I did that for many years. I communicated with animals as a child and growing up. And it wasn't until somebody invited me my mother actually invited me to a class that she was invited to, and when she said what it was, I was like, "Oh, I've always done that." It was kind of like breathing, and you don't necessarily think about breathing until
Yeah.
someone explains breathing to you. As a
Yeah.
child or a baby, you just do it. So, I believe that people really, if they love animals, they can do this 100%. Sometimes it takes
Yeah.
just a little practice, which is what, people like me are here to do,
Yeah.
help people with that.
Yeah. Like when they explain it, you're like, oh, so that's what they call it, breathing. Wow. I've been doing
Right.
that for a long time, right? I didn't even know that
Exactly.
that's the word. Oh,
Mhm.
I just learned a new word today. Wow. Can you share an experience where you've seen a dog, service or companion dog,
Okay.
intuitively support someone, right? We're talking about connection,
Mhm.
intuition in ways that training can't explain it. It's, you can't just use training to explain it.
Yeah. I mean, it happens all the time with the people that I work with, where an animal will tell me about something that is going on in the human's life that the person really maybe didn't necessarily even expect to talk to me about, but the animal will bring it up. Kind of going back to what I was talking about before, with
Yeah.
where they're experiencing things that are going on in our lives, it's impacting them, and then they'll bring it into the session. I would talk I mean, the first thing that comes to mind, because I was working on this video, just editing it recently,
Wow.
um, is an animal that started to experience some physical symptoms that their person was experiencing, and that came up in our session before the person who was mentioned what was going on with the animal. The animal was telling me about what they were experiencing. And it kind of happens, I would say, almost the majority of the time when I do a session, animals are talking about what's going on with the humans in their lives. They're very invested in what's going on in our lives, and they want what's best for us. So they'll tell us, for instance, I can think of a dog who didn't like someone's boyfriend, and the dog brought that up. I've had things like that happen many times where animals will let me know that they don't like, or they do like somebody that they're dating, or they're married to, or separating
Yeah.
from, or whatever. Um, they like to talk about those things. They'll talk, and their animals are very candid and straightforward. So if you do an animal communication session, you probably should expect that the animal is going to talk a little bit about you. So I let people know that.
Yeah.
But it's always, they're so innocent and pure. They're coming from such a good place that I think people know that, people appreciate what the animal is talking about, because their pet, because they know that it's because they love them, and they
Yeah.
want to share what's good for them.
Yeah. Thank you so much for for that example. In your book, I'll pronounce the name Misha's Heart
Oh,
Adventure, right?
yeah,
Is that
Misha's Hard Adventure, which is
okay?
an emotional regulation while learning how animals think and feel, which is a book
Okay,
that is for, it is a children's book, but it really is also written for adults too, to get
okay,
them back connected with their ability
yeah.
to communicate with animals. But go ahead, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, no, thanks for the what's the word? They call it the backstory.
Yeah.
You use an animal's perspective to help children understand feelings. If a guide dog could tell a story, what might it say about guiding humans? I mean, fictional. We're just, you know, we're up there.
Mhm.
We're trying to imagine. What would you think it would say?
I feel like because of the way they're so invested in their people, that it would be information about what is going to help that person's life improve, things that maybe are not serving that person so well. So they might point things out that they can't verbalize, that
Yeah,
occurs like on a walk, that the person maybe isn't aware of,
yeah,
hasn't picked up on. Um, Maybe a warning, something about, I don't like the way when we walk by this person's house, when that person's outside. I don't like the way that person's energy is. I don't, there's something that concerns
yeah,
me about that person. Or, I feel like you might not realize it, but we're getting the sidewalk here is really um what's the word, like crack, there's cracks, or it's not a good sidewalk, and maybe the person doesn't even notice it completely. A guide dog, an opportunity through animal communication, would have that opportunity, a guide dog, to get that out and say, hey, I've been trying to tell you this. This is, there's something here, I'm afraid you're going to trip and fall.
yeah, yeah. For I don't know how the book is, but it will be nice to just to listen to the perspective of a guy though talking and say, this is right. That would be nice if there
Yeah,
was a movie like where
sure.
it's the guide dog that is narrating the story of the movie and he's like, oh yeah, this is what happened. This is this. I saw this guy and I
Yeah,
smelled some coke.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Ah,
I don't know, maybe it's been done,
uh,
I'm not sure, but it's a great idea.
I'm a genius.
Yeah, you might wanna get to work on that.
Okay. Working as an animal communicator, what are some of the common misconceptions you see people have about the inner life of dogs?
I think, the biggest thing for me is that maybe they don't realize how much animals are in tune with us, how much they really know about what is going on in our lives. I'm not sure. I don't wanna say I'm not sure. I am sure that people often don't realize it, how much animals really are aware of what's happening. Like, they know that you're looking to buy a new house. They know that you're looking to move. They know that you're thinking about getting another dog. They know that you're thinking about this presentation you have to do and you're stressed out
Uh,
about it. They know you don't like your boss. They know that you're irritated with your neighbor. They really are tuned in to what's going on in our lives. And I will say, I do think that the closer people are with their animals, for some reason, the more that comes out, it just sort of it just sort of develops more. It just sort of grows more. So if somebody isn't has an animal for some reason, and they're really not that connected to the animal, they're just maybe they feed it, maybe the animal, they may take it out, but they're not really into the animal. Maybe they got passed down to them or something from someone who passed away, whatever. Um, or they didn't want the animal that much in the beginning and just somehow ended up with it. Then you don't see sometimes that form in an animal quite as much. They're not it's like, as much as the person puts into it, the animal is you're going to get back. You're going to have the animal in your business, so to speak, for lack of a better way to put it. Uh,
ah,
um,
uh,
so I would just recommend to people to really think about your animal that way, that they're guiding all of us. We're talking about guide dogs here for, usually we're talking about somebody who has some kind of different abilities. But I think just in general, animals are guides for us, and
Yeah.
they can do that for us as much as we want them to. And I think that it's such a pure love that we really benefit to ask and tap into it and connect with it, with the animals perspective on things, and it's good for them. Imagine if you had an opinion or thought or feeling about something that was going on in someone's life that you're close with in your family, and
Yeah.
they just didn't respond. They didn't You kind of always were wanting them to listen, and they weren't. That's a very frustrating thing. So often when I
Yeah.
first start a session, animals who have never had an animal communicator talk to them before, or their person hasn't tried it, they're so excited to talk.
Yeah. Yeah. If someone listening wanted to celebrate National Guide Dog Month in a way that reflects your work, what would you suggest? Maybe through
Hmm.
awareness, empathy, or simple connection with animals?
I think probably the simplest way is just to honor all animals. And if somebody is a person who has a guide dog or does not have a guide dog, would be to sit with them, and you can begin animal communication without necessarily taking a class. I mean, I have a free meditation on my website. I'm about to come out with a new hypnosis on YouTube soon, but I also for your listeners, I have, just to let them know, I have digital products on my website for this, like
Yeah.
hypnosis and classes, and there's a coupon code if they'd like to use it, 10,
Wait. Does the Anne? Can you
and
spell
with an
out the
E.
word? Spell
Yeah,
out the
it's
word, please.
ANNE 10,
Is
and
the
it's
10
10.
spelled or is the 10 a number?
Oh, that's a good question. It's 10, and it's
Okay.
that's a good point. Uh, I'll have to remember that because I think I've said that on my show too, on my podcast, about saying that. Um, it's yes, so it's the number 10. And if you go to the easiest thing to get to these digital products is to go to my website, intuitivetouchanimalcare.com, and you can go to my academy there. And when you go there, I have digital products, and you can use that coupon code and get 10% off hypnosis classes, anything that's digital on there. Also, my channel has free a lot of educational videos that people might be interested in on the Animal Intuitive channel, which for some reason on my podcast, if people are listening, if you have more people who do podcast listening sites, it's probably better just put my name in, Anne Angelo Webb, and then the Animal Intuitive show is the podcast. And on
Okay.
YouTube it's channel. I don't know what I did there. When I started, I forgot to make them the same. But I
Okay.
think people can start very right away. You can use something free like my meditation and just begin making that connection, and you'll see that it'll happen really fast, and you'll recognize that you're already doing this. Just sit with your
Hmm.
animal, put your hand on them, be quiet with them, and listen and see what comes up.
I love for us to play a game. It's
Okay.
very fun. It's smart and it's fast.
Okay.
Um, Currently, I have 10 questions. We're going to do a lightning round. It's a set of quick fire questions. We do intend to see if we can respond to all 10 questions in 90 seconds.
Oh,
So
wow.
I have with me my
Okay.
phone. I'll start the timer and okay, let's make it 2 minutes. 90 seconds, that's a lot. Let's make it 2 minutes. Okay, then I
It's
would
late
start.
here in the United States, so I hope
Okay,
I can do this.
okay, one word, one sentence responses. Okay, start. If dogs could give human one piece of wisdom, what would it be?
Love each other.
One thing people always miss when their pets are talking to them.
Was that what are people missing or
One
why?
thing people always miss when their pets are talking to them.
Oh, we're already gonna hit 90 seconds. I can't hear. I didn't understand that question.
What's the one thing people always miss
Oh,
when their pets are talking to them?
okay. I think how much they love them, 'cause,
Okay.
people often ask me, "Do they love me? Do they love me?" And Yeah.
Yeah. What's the first word that comes to mind when you think of guide dogs?
Loyal.
What's a moment when an animal surprised you with its insight?
Telling me about somebody who was really, really bottling up a lot of stress and anxiety that kind of came out later that day and after we spoke
Yeah.
to
What's
help them to get in touch with it.
what's one quality guide dogs have that all humans should learn?
Devotion.
Okay, I thought you were going to say lawyer because that's
I
one
was
thing
gonna
too.
say loyalty, and then I was like, it's sort of
Okay.
similar, but yeah.
Do animals care about words, tone, or energy?
Do they care about what? I'm sorry.
Do animals care more about words, tone, or energy?
Uh, what are energy?
What do animals care more about? Is it words? Is it
Oh,
your tone, or is it your energy?
I think it's really your energy.
Okay.
It's more.
If you could ask a guide dog one question, what would it be?
How do we help you do your job? How can we help you to be the best at what you do?
What's one myth about animal communication you like to bust?
Uh, what's one what about animal communication? I'd like to
MYTH.
that it's not real, and that secondly, I would also say that it's limited to just a few people, as opposed to I think anybody who wants to do it can.
Yeah. What's a personal ritual you use before connecting with an animal?
I meditate or do hypnosis, self hypnosis before I meditate with animals or communicate with animals.
If every dog in the world could hear one message from you today, what would it be?
Oh, how wonderful they are. And just for me personally, how I wish they were all safe and cared for and just spectacularly cared for. And that would be for me personally that, but in general, how important they are in this world, which I think a lot of them actually do know. They, they're funny. They know.
Yeah, thank you so much. You do. I mean,
Do we
three
make it?
minutes, 34 seconds.
Oh, bro. Way over.
Okay. Where can I know over the course of conversation you did mention your website, but where can we learn more about the work you do and also connect with you?
But yeah, the best places would be, to really, check out my YouTube channel. I'd love to connect with people there. I read all the comments.
What's the YouTube channel called?
That's the Animal Intuitive channel, and I really would, if you're searching for it, put my name in, and with an E, Angelo Webb,
Okay.
WEBB. That's because there's been
Copycats.
some people who have kind of manipulated the name of my channel and kind of used
Yeah.
it, and kind of, so it's better to put my name in to get to me
Yeah.
specifically on YouTube. And go to my
Well,
website, intuitivetouchanimalcare.com, as well, for all my everything that I offer and free stuff too. I also have articles on there that you might want to check out.
yeah. Well, thank you so much. And don't forget, if you want to get any of the services on the website, you can use the coupon code ANN10. That is ANNE 10. The 10 is
Yes.
a number.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank
Yep.
you so much. I don't know if I should call you Anne or Angelo.
Anne's fine. Yeah. Oh, and if people are interested in the book, it also has accompanying music too. If people have children that you want to dance and sing and do animal songs with them and be
Yeah.
introduced to animal communication, those are streaming on all the anywhere that you can stream or download music, but the book is anywhere you get books, including Amazon,
Yeah.
or
Well,
through my
thank you
website.
so much. Thank you so
You're
much. It's
welcome.
been,
This has been
yeah,
fun.
yeah, it's been an absolute delight chatting with you.
Thank you. You as well.
That's it for today's episode of the Observe Day podcast. Thank you for spending your time with us as we explore today's observance. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and share it with a friend who'd love to celebrate life's special days too. Don't forget to join the newsletter at observeday.com/join for more observance stories, tips, and updates. Until next time, keep finding meaning in every day.